39, but they still got 20 more shots. Why? Well, the turnover battle was almost doubled. Uh, Offensive boards, they out rebounded them 17-3 on the offensive boards. George Washington did. Total rebounds 41-33. Tons of foul shots in this one. But it was one of those statistical anomalies, really, where you look at it on paper, you would have never guessed that they lose that game. And you're getting one here. I like George Washington. Another thing I like, the first half under, it's a small number. It's 68.5. I get that. And last one would have went over. And that's the only one that has gone over for George Washington in the first half in the last 11 in conference. All the other ones have gone under. So I'm leaning towards George Washington in the under in this one. I think they can get it done. They need to get it done. It's a huge game for them. It was almost a member play for me, but I got a member play on two games: Wichita Loyola and Pittsburgh Louisville. So those are the two we won't be talking about. But I really like them in that spot today, even though it's on the road. It's just one of those things where it's getting to that point where teams are hungry, they're on the bubble. Doesn't mean just because you're on the bubble you always automatically win, but you know what I mean. It's going to be a tough one. An interesting one: Wisconsin at Iowa. Whiskey's been playing good. They're another bubble team. Iowa had a little hiccup there for a bit, but back on track. 13-0 at home, outscoring their opponents by 16. You look at Wisconsin, 5-5 on the road. Not a bad record at all. Again, this team was basically written off, and the new interim coach has really got them playing well. Big Ten not as strong as it was, but still, Iowa, like I said, sort of fading, but they've been on the road a lot. They fell from first place. They had topped the conference standings all season prior to its third loss in 4 days, and they were all on the third and four on the road. They've lost. Eighth ranked still. They're at home. Look to remain perfect, like I said. Ever since that loss to Indiana, we'll see. But this is their 2,700th game. Little fun fact. 2,700th game in the history of this franchise. Sorry, I was just seeing who's calling. So again, Wisconsin really needs it. I think Wisconsin's in. I don't think they need to win this one. Opponents are shooting almost 40% against Wisconsin. They're last in the Big Ten. Iowa forces 13 turnovers a game. And they only give up 10, so they're always winning that. We talk about them being 13-0. Wisconsin 4-4 against ranked teams this season. They've won 3 of their last 4, however. Wisconsin won last year. They've won 3 in a row overall. As far as a side here, I would probably have to lean Iowa. Honestly, the lay in the 8 is just ridiculous. I don't see myself doing that. But Iowa this year, they're coming off of a long stretch where they haven't played. They haven't played in about a week. Wisconsin comes rolling in after being at home. Bounces back from the Michigan State loss. I think it's a tough spot for Wisconsin here. I think they have some trouble. I think Iowa makes enough shots. Do they cover? Do they stretch away? Maybe. But, if I was going to play this game, I would probably throw it in a tease. You can't really look back at much history because Iowa's obviously much better than they were. But either way, without going into too much detail here, I would lean there anyway. But that's where I'm at with that one. How about a quick question? Oh, by the way, we're doing second baseman today, breaking down the top 10 second baseman. Again, no one guessed it yesterday. Someone took a guess when I was halfway through the list, so I didn't count that one. Give me who you think my top second baseman is. Get in there. Oh, and you'll get the place for free. Also, speaking of that, if you could play one sport professionally, right? What sport would you play and why? I want to know that, right? I know I have my answer and reasons why, but if you could live the lifestyle of a professional athlete, doesn't have to be the four major ones. But which one would you choose? And why? That's where I'm at with that. So, send you. I'd like to hear the responses on the chat box. So, get at me. Let me know where you're at as we continue to break down a few of these games here. Let's see. And again, if you guys want me to do a particular one, I'm glad to. Let's see which one. I guess we should stay. I'll tell you what. Oregon laying 18.5 against Washington State at home. Stay away from that one. That's a big number. How about my dog of the day? And some of you guys might be surprised on this one, although the line is dropping. Arizona going into Colorado. Okay, and I'll tell you this. Sunday, I'll say this, and if you're listening, God bless you. But Sunday, Utah, especially if Arizona wins this game, Utah will cover Sunday. All right? We'll put it that way. Arizona going into the grueling road trip in the Pac-12, probably the worst road trip out of any Power 5. You go up to Colorado, then you go to Utah. 2 games in elevation, always tough. Colorado, bubble team right now. Their story is, pretty quiet. I mean, a lot of the Big 12 is quiet, but they've lost 4 of their last 6, all on the road. Struggling a bit. You look at Arizona. How does Arizona fare on the road? They won 77-72 at Washington on the second game of back-to-back after winning by 15 in Washington State earlier in the week. They win 71-57 on the other road trip from Stanford, then going to Cal. Then in the second game, they lose 74-73. I'm bringing this up for a point. First game of the road trip, UCLA, they lose that game. Then they lose in USC. Point being, if you notice, and it's with every Pac-12 team, especially just in general on the road this year, Pac-12 teams on the road are losing 66% of the time. But the second game of a road trip's brutal. It's even worse than that. So watch Arizona, probably be favored. Be careful with them on Sunday. Can Colorado squeak out a win tonight? Yeah, I think they can. Solid team, especially at home. Like I said, they got a huge home court advantage. They're 14-1 at home, if you guys don't know, outscoring opponents by 14 points. You look at Arizona on the road. Although, yeah, they're playing well, 5-0 and everything. They're 7-4 on the road. All right, they're not like big world beaters. Although we all know 7-4 on the road's not a bad number. So be careful of that one if you're thinking about taking Arizona. Could they cover? Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying, be careful, and also. Remember about that game on Sunday going into Utah. How about Tennessee going into South Carolina? South Carolina 8.5-point favorites. It's a big number. Power indexes, says this line should be closer to 2. Why is that? Well, we all know Tennessee knocked them off earlier this year, right? So that could have something to do with it, but. Overall, South Carolina is sort of that team that nobody wants to like. They played a weak-ass non-conference schedule. They ran through that. And they're just that team that seems to either bite you in the ass or whatever. They're very much, you don't know what they're going to do come tournament time, right? I think they're in. We'll say that. But this could be a good one. They're 1 game behind Kentucky. Only 2 games separates the top 6 teams in the SEC. Very weak. They're all 500. They lost to SEC. Yeah, not the SEC. South Carolina, just coming off 2 losses. They beat Florida on Saturday. They might be catching a break with Tennessee, likely playing without their leading scorer, Kevin Putner. He sat out Saturday's win against LSU and could be sidelined for several games with a stress fracture in his foot. So they're catching a break there. At home, they're tough. So we should see, Tennessee has won 7 straight at South Carolina. Let me say that again. Tennessee has won 7 straight at South Carolina. But the Gamecocks are 14-1 this year at home. Volunteers 5-1 in SEC play, 9-2 overall when winning the rebound battle. But the Gamecocks lead the SEC in rebounding and are 20-1 when they own the boards. So it's going to be, obviously, we all know where we're at with that. The boards are going to definitely contain it. Tennessee, a little banged up, going on the road in South Carolina. South Carolina laying the big number, I get it, -9. I still like it despite the 7-game thing and all that stuff. I like South Carolina. I wouldn't mind teasing them with, what game were we just talking about with a fairly big number as well? What game were we just talking? I'm out of my mind right now. How about that? With Iowa, you might want to throw it in the tease with Iowa or something like that. GW is a short line, so you don't need to be teasing that. Maybe another game. We'll talk about this other game. Maybe you can throw it in a tease with this. Maybe a 3-team tease. But I think if you play these 3 fairly decent favorites, on the line that. You should make some money tonight. Let's go to chat box. John Jensen. Golf. He says golf. That's what he would play. Golf. You can make big bucks, not much wear and tear on the body. You can play competitive longer than most sports. Yeah, I hear you. Ask Tiger Woods about wear and tear on his body. But yeah, you can make good money. Obviously, my pick is baseball. For one, you play a lot. I get that. But it's not a contact sport. You can play longer. The money is gigantic, right? And it's all guaranteed. I can sign a $250 million contract, get hurt, and I'm getting paid every bit of that. So, I tend to lean baseball. Plus, I like baseball and I played baseball. But bottom line, guaranteed money I like. There's no other guaranteed money really anywhere else. I mean, other than, you sign deals and stuff like that. But for the most part, as far as sports-wise, you get a piece of you guaranteed, but only baseball guarantees 100% of the contract. So that's where I would go. But golf is nice, too. Poor Tiger, though. I think he's still making it up. I think because he can't play, that's why he's saying how bad he's hurt. But either way, Notre Dame lost consecutive games to... I'm sorry. They haven't lost consecutive games. Can't read my writing. Since the end of 2013-14. Coming off an unexpected defeat over the weekend, they look to extend their streak of bounce-back victories to 13 in a row, as they continue their 3-game road trip into Wake Forest. Notre Dame, like I said, Georgia Tech knocked them off, shocked them, taking down North Carolina and Louisville during a 3-game win streak over the previous weeks. But you look at this game, Wake Forest leads the all-time series 3-2, but they beat, Notre Dame destroyed them January 31st. Augustine had 21-12 in that game. Since the start of 2014-15 season, Notre Dame 9-1 versus teams from the Tar Heel State. A win by Wake Forest would be their 1500 in their victory. They're laying 7 here. Let's face it, Wake Forest is not a good team. They're probably feeling themselves. Like I said, Devin Thomas expected to miss because of suspension. Down low, they're beat up. There's stuff going on in the locker room. Yeah, they got a great win in BC. BC sucks. Bottom line is, they get a good win. They feel good about themselves. They're not as hungry for that win anymore. It's a bad spot for them. Let's put it that way. I think Notre Dame gets on them quick. I think they roll. This was another one that was going to be a client play, but I didn't want to send too many ones. But definitely a big one. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the next one. Jeff, what are you asking me? Are you joking around? I don't know. Either way. So, what else do we have to talk about? I don't know. We get into the top 10 of the baseball, but I wanted to go over another game. Wanted to go into